I have this to say to Najib and Rosmah. If truly you're not involved, you did not order the killing of Altantuya, let this case see the light of day. Let there be a trial. If you want justice, that's the only way. Don't run away from a trial. I can assure you that Najib cannot survive in jail. He just can't. He's not built for such things. Rosmah would never discuss Altantuya.
Did you ever try to discuss it with her?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I wouldn't dare.
So you just knew that...
We all knew. Her children knew. Her daughter knew. Her sons knew. Everyone knows. It was an open secret. Everyone knew that Altantuya was murdered on instructions. I discussed this with the people around them, and I discussed this with her brother, Najib's brother, and even they are perplexed that why did Altantuya have to be murdered? It didn't make sense. If she wanted money, there was abundant money, billions. She only wanted 500,000 ringgit, not even dollars. The issue at hand was not about money. The issue at hand was that Altantuya was pregnant. Was she actually pregnant with Najib's child? Rosmah could never accept this. That's why she was wronged. She was C4.
What do you know about their involvement in the Altantuya murder? Because I know that's something that you have been involved.
Well, to speak honestly, Najib is definitely involved in the murder. You need to rationalize with these two facts. Firstly, there is no way a serving police officer would assassinate and then bomb, use a C4 dynamite and bomb a lady who's pregnant. And secondly, he scrambled when the first statutory declaration was issued and sent both his brothers and his personal lawyer in the dead of night to meet the person who had issued and signed the first SD, to reverse and revise the SD so that it doesn't show his involvement in the case. There is no reason for him to do that. If he was not involved in the murder, he didn't have to change the second SD at all. Very panicky mode. Rosmah actually just sat at the corner and she said, "You talk to my husband, let him make the calls." Because she knows there are certain things that really would make Najib angry, and this situation was one of them. You must remember that this whole Altantuya fiasco was caused by Rosmah. Rosmah went on a rampage that night. She wanted to kill Altantuya. She wanted to get rid of the child that was in Altantuya's stomach.
How do you know that?
Well, I've been told this by Pierre Bala. Pierre Bala was watching, he was watching over Altantuya for close to 2 weeks before she was murdered. He was hired by Raza Paginda to watch over her.
But did you ever know any of that from Rosmah herself? Did she speak to you, or did you witness anything at the house?
We never discussed this. This was never discussed in the house. Everyone, you must remember, it's the house of the Deputy Prime Minister. You've got the ADCs, both her ADC, his ADC. You've got bodyguards. You've got their maids. You've got their house people, their house workers. There are more than 25 people stationed in the house full time. Everyone know what happened that night, but no one would speak about it. It's true, she was at the scene of the crime. She was waiting downstairs. She wanted to make sure the lady was properly blown up. She didn't want evidence.
How do you know that?
I was told this by Bala. Bala was the last person to see Altantuya alive. They literally took Altantuya off his hand into their car.
That's right.
Yeah.
But he wasn't there on the
Wasn't there,
night.
but there's so many people. You know, the most pitiful thing about this whole case is, I've told this to the government. That night, the night after, there are 20, 30 people staying in Najib's house, working for him. Servicemen working in the house. You need to interrogate them. They will tell you the truth. They were there on the night after, on the night before, where this entire thing blew up. She was supposed to be killed the night before, actually. They missed the boat. They couldn't get her. They got her the next night. So this whole thing was planned, and knowing Rosma, she would have gone into a tirade. There would have been major screaming in the house. She would have been hysterical, and that's how this whole thing would have snowballed into a murder. These are realities. These are facts. I dare tell you now because these are facts.
So she was there. So tell me, what was her involvement on the night of the murder?
She instructed the officers to kill her, but they would never take her instruction. She then told her husband, under no uncertain terms, that she wanted Altantuya dead. And that's what happened.
And she went with them on the night?
She was there that night. She was at a function. She went to the site after her function. It's true she was at a function. She claimed she was around. It's true. But after the function, she went to the site. She wanted to ensure it was done. Mind you, Malaysians don't kill people, or even government service officers. They don't go around killing. It's not the norm.
And so she went to the site to make sure that she'd been blown up, or?
Yes, they have to ensure the job was done.
And what did they want you to say?
They wanted me to say that Najib was not guilty. But the manner in which they wrote the second statement of defense was not really denying Najib's involvement, but saying that, coming up with flimsy excuses like it's out of time, it's time barred, and it's res judicata because the case was also previously filed. They never ever said they were not guilty. They've never stood up in any of their cause papers. If you look at all their affidavits, none of the defendants have written down there, it's not true. They cannot deny the truth. They can only skirt around it. Well, they can't continue skirting around it anymore because they've lost their dominance. Now they have to face up to the truth. I've been literally held at ransom by Najib and his emissaries, not to testify against him, not to give testimony, not to sign affidavits against him in court. And I've been held in this manner for the last 7 years. I didn't have a choice. Every time I terminated their lawyer, they would bring up a matter and say, we're taking action against you. The income tax department is winding you up right now. The bank is calling on a loan which was settled through a settlement agreement in 2013. In 2017, 2 days after Najib's political secretary, chief political secretary, was appointed the chairman of the bank sued me for monies which we have already settled through a settlement agreement in 2013, and this is 4 years later. So my hands are tied. I cannot speak, but that didn't stop me.
That night, so what happened? I mean,
Well, she called me in the late afternoon and she asked me whether I could locate this person. I've never met him in my life, Piai Bala. I contacted a few friends because Piai Bala was he was an ex-police officer, and there were people who knew him, and we managed to locate him. I went to see him, but he was very insistent that if he was to change anything, he wants clarification from Najib and Rosma of their actual involvement. So I went back to their official residence in Sri Satya. It was, I think, somewhere between 7 or 8 p.m. And I sat down with Datuk Najib in the lounge with him. and explained to him that this gentleman, Piai Bala, is insisting that he is speaking the truth, and that his statutory declaration, he is an ex-police officer, he would not lie in a statutory declaration. And there's only one way that he was to be convinced to change it, and that was to meet Datuk Sri and Datuk Sri. At that time he was the Deputy Prime Minister. And they are to explain to him why they were not involved. Najib said, I will send my brother. He called his brother in front of me, Datuk Johari Razak, who's a senior managing partner in one of the largest law firms in Malaysia called Shern Delmore, and told him that he is to meet this gentleman, Piai Bala. But Johari was not in town. Johari didn't arrange his key man, a senior counsel himself. He's now Tan Sri Cecil Ibrahim, to start working on a statutory declaration that would absolve Najib. He then called his brother, another brother called Datuk Nazim Razak, who's an architect, and asked Nazim to meet urgently with Piai Bala. So I called Piai Bala. I said, okay, Najib cannot meet you, but his brother is going to meet you, and you can you come to a particular venue, which was in Mutiara Damansara, near the IKEA, the flagship IKEA mall in Malaysia, to meet Najib's brother. So he came, we met maybe 9, 10 o'clock at night. Nazim even brought his wife along. She was pregnant, but she didn't want to let him go at night and handle such a nasty task. So I left Datuk Nazim to talk to Piai Bala. I went to the other corner because Nazim wanted to have a private discussion with him. And after the discussion, Piai Bala said, okay, he's willing to change the testimony, and Nazim then organised for him to be sent to a hotel in KL.
So you don't know what convinced Bala to change his...
What Bala told me after that was that he was threatened by Datuk Nazim, that Datuk Nazim informed him that Datuk Najib has arranged his personal security and some government enforcement officers outside his house, Piai Bala's house. And his wife had called Piai Bala to inform him that there were 2 cars with many people sitting down inside, many men sitting down outside their house at the dead of night. And he had no choice. Basically, here you have the Deputy Prime Minister. He was against the greatest of people. He basically didn't have a choice. He had to succumb. They met in the hotel. Datuk Nazim arranged for the lawyer, Cecil Ibrahim, Sunil Ibrahim, and the Commissioner of Oaths. They met Piai Bala in the hotel. They booked a room. They constructed a new SD. And I didn't see the SD till the next day, but I know that it was done as per the instruction of Datuk Nazim. And this SD was then presented to the press the next morning. Here comes the call from Najib's emissary, Datuk Aziz Rahim. He says, you go get yourself a medical certificate. You cannot give testimony. Are you willing to give testimony to say that everything that was said earlier was a lie? I said, I cannot, because I would be held in contempt of court. I would be lying to court. For your information, even Najib as the Prime Minister has not denied the acquisition. He's merely skirting around it. He's going around in circles, but he's never said it's not true.
And he hasn't lied in court?
No, he hasn't. I cannot lie to the court, and I will not. If you insist on me getting a medical certificate, tell me where to go, I'll go and collect it. So I went to a government hospital. It was already ready for me. I collected it. I gave it to the lawyer. Well, this judge was very persistent. Although Tan Sri Shafi asked for a date, a month or two, she gave 2 weeks. She said, I want the witness to give testimony in 2 weeks. 2 weeks came. Again, this time I was called to Tan Sri Shafi's office. Dato' Aziz Rahim was there. He was in the room. He says, I tell you what, my friend is a doctor in Pantai Hospital. Okay? He's going to get you admitted. And you must get admitted 2-3 days prior, not the night before. 2-3 days prior, he's going to say that you're very sick. He's going to say that you need to be admitted and you cannot attend the cross-examination coming Friday. Of course, I didn't have a choice. My hands are tied. I made it loud and clear in the most silent of terms to whoever was involved in the case that I didn't have a choice. I got admitted. I was taken to the emergency. In half an hour, I was in the ward. They came up with a medical report. Tan Sri Shafi didn't like the medical report. He edited it. He instructed the doctor to change it. And that medical report was served to the court. But this lady judge, ladyship, my salutations to her. She was not buying any of this. Okay, he's back here in 10 days. 10 days is a very short time. Of course, they fought for a longer period, but she said, no, I want to get this wrapped up. I want this cross-examination. 10 days came. Just prior to that, Dato' Aziz calls me. He said, come to my office. Lo and behold, I'm there. Shafi is there. You go overseas for treatment. You cannot be in Malaysia now. I say, it looks like what happened to Pia Bala is happening to me now. Exactly the same situation. I say, how long am I going to go overseas? No. Go now. 1 day after the court case, you come back. I had to go. I didn't have a choice. Here you have the Prime Minister's emissary instructing me to take his instruction or be destroyed. I'm a businessman. I've got liabilities. I've got assets. I cannot afford this. I did what they wanted. I went overseas. The judge came up with a judgment. She said, no, even though he's not here, because you all have prevented him from giving testimony, I'm granting the cross-examination that this cross-examination, the decision on this cross-examination will be given. Alright? Then came the elections.
And things have changed. And so the court case is going...
The hunter has become the hunted. The hunter has become the hunted. The whole thing has changed now. Now, the first thing I did was, I went to a new lawyer, very prominent gentleman, Dato' Al-Kinathan. He is a former judge. I explained to him the entire situation. He told me to quickly write to the court, tell the court that whatever was to be asked during the cross-examination, we affirm it. We affirm that Shafi was actually not appointed by me, but by Najib. I have never paid Shafi a single cent. All payments to Shafi came from Dato' Najib. Second, that the statement of defense that I filed first, which was served on the plaintiff's lawyer, was the only true statement of defense.
And who wrote the second one?
Shafi.
And Shafi is now defending Najib.
Najib, yes.
And Shafi himself is being charged.
He himself has been charged.
So what do you make of that? The fact that Shafi is now defending Najib?
It's meant to happen. Birds of the same feather flock together. It is meant to be. He knows all of Najib's dark secrets.
Why do you think no action has been taken against Shafi so far?
I believe that there are actions being filed. I was informed that the plaintiffs were trying to serve on him legal documents with regards to contempt proceedings, but he's been awaiting taking service, but he has recently, as early as this evening, taken service of these court documents. So they are initiating contempt proceedings
Going
against
back to
him.
Rosmar, just tell us, I mean, what motivates her? I mean, tell us a little bit about her love of jewellery. I mean, it's excessive though. It's not. Just explain to us what drives her.
She's just plain greedy, and because she didn't come from a very privileged background, unlike Najib. Suddenly she sees all these blings which she never imagined she could own, and she wants it all. She wants to be the largest collector of pink diamonds in the world. She's told me this. Find all the pink diamonds that you can find. She wants it all. She's just too greedy.
But she could never wear them. I mean,
Exactly.
Isn't that the...
Exactly. You see, the diamonds, especially the expensive priceless pieces, they were her way of keeping the money. She buys a diamond for 6 million ringgit. It is better than keeping 6 million in a bank account. It was an easy way for her to siphon off the corruption money and to keep them in a very simple place. They never imagined they would lose the election. They never imagined the police would raid their house. Would they be foolish enough to leave 12,000 sets of jewellery worth 1 billion ringgit in their house? Impossible. They never imagined this would happen. It was through divine intervention. Not even the Pakatan Harapan government knew for sure they would win. It happened. It just happened. It was no longer about a brick and mortar business. It was more about how to steal money, how to rob money from 1 MDB, from the banks that loaned 1 MDB. You got to ask yourself a very good question though. There were lawyers involved, both in Malaysia, overseas. There were professional bankers involved, both in Malaysia, overseas. You've got Goldman Sachs, who facilitated this whole thing. Right? They have good lawyers. They knew what was going on. They knew it's a scam. If they say they didn't know, it's a lie. But everyone facilitated this great robbery. Today, we are focusing on Najib and Jolo and Rosmar. But behind them, you have this huge section of professionals who are also involved.
And that's the same in Malaysia with these court cases too, I suppose.
Yes, exactly. Same in Malaysia. You have got people in authority at the bank level, at the monitoring level, at the enforcement level. Everybody kept quiet. They didn't dare. You had our former Deputy Prime Minister, Tan Sri Mahyudin. He voiced out and he got sacked. What could he do? What could anyone do? You've got the second man, just for making one statement, he was sacked.
And what was she doing with that money?
Well, she's got a lot of jewellery. She's got a vault in Dubai with much more jewellery than what's here.
She's got
She's got a vault, a bank vault in Dubai with lots more money than what's in Malaysia. She's a very rich lady. You know, Najib and Rosmar stole at least 100 billion ringgit from Malaysia. At least.
How do you know that?
I've configured all the dealings that they did. I know that some of the contracts that they have awarded, the percentage that they asked for these contracts. You take all the figures together, you add 1 MDB, you've got 100 plus billion. I vowed to give Altantuya her justice. I will do whatever it takes so that she gets her justice. That the people who ordered her killing must face justice. All this while, the last 10 years, Najib has been avoiding to go for trial. Rosmar has been avoiding to go for trial, using their sheer dominance as the Prime Minister, always managing to strike out the case against them with regards to Altantuya, with regards to P.I. Bala. And I believe that there is a slim chance that this matter will go to trial now. Next Monday, the case management for this case will begin.
So this is Bala's wife's case
Yes.
against